This is a gardening project you can do every day of the year, all year long, and it is growing sprouts. You can grow sprouts indoors every single day of the year, no matter where you live. They are super nutritious. They are so delicious, so fresh, and they're going to bring that garden to table feel to your kitchen table any time of the year. They're amazing. So this literally is something you can do each and every day of the year for the entirety of the year. Should I say that again? So let me show you how to grow sprouts. You essentially only need 3 or 4 components to make this work. I have a little bit of a fancy setup, but I'm going to show you and talk to you how you can do it more simply. Growing sprouts is simply taking seeds and bringing them through their first stage of growth. So when a seed sprouts, when a seed is filled with water and begins to sprout, it grows 2 things. It grows a root and it grows a shoot. And we are growing these seeds just to that very first stage. So if you were to see like something like a radish, through its full duration of its life, it's going to make it, to 35, 40 days of growth before you'd harvest the full radish. We're just growing it to the first 5 days of its lifespan, and then we're eating it. That's what makes it so simple and also makes it possible to do indoors year round. So that's what growing sprouts means. Now let me just show you the only things you need to make this happen. First, you need some kind of container that does not strain. So a container that has a solid bottom. Whoa, that's kind of reflective on me. Let me put that over here. So here you have, this is the bottom of my seed sprouting tray. And as you can see, it looks kind of like it looks honestly like my dog's water bowl. It's totally solid and can hold water. So that's the first thing you need. And this can be something as simple as, a salad bowl, a soup bowl from your kitchen. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can also just be like a jar. So something that is solid, that does not strain, that's the first thing that you need. And the next thing that you need is something that does strain. So you need probably a similar size container that has mesh on the bottom of it. It could be cheesecloth might work too, although I think it probably doesn't create enough of a strain. You want to be able to get all of the moisture out of your seeds with the strainer. So that's the second component that you need. Then I like to have a cover. You don't have to. But I do like to be able to cover mine up. So if you're going kind of all natural and you're just using like a typical kitchen strainer over a bowl, I would at least have, a dish towel or a cheesecloth, even if you can just put a plate on top of it. Some kind of cover, I think, just helps provide a little bit of certainty that everything's sanitary and clean in there. So those are the main supplies that you need to make this happen. Then the only other components you need are seeds and water. And that is it. You don't need light. You don't need soil. You don't need any tools besides scissors when you're harvesting them. Actually, you don't even need scissors. You just pull them up and eat them. It is the simplest, easiest thing. You have to do it. Raise your right hand. I will grow sprouts this year. Okay, good. All right, so those are the things that you need. Now I'm going to walk you through the simple steps. So you're going to start your sprouts like a day before, like the first day is different than the rest of the days. So the very first day that you're getting started, you are going to just soak your sprouts. And what we're doing at this point is we are trying to saturate these sprouts. We're trying to get them to the place where they burst open, where they cannot contain themselves anymore. And they have to open up and provide and grow for us roots and shoots. So you can see I put these in the water only just a few hours before making this video. And you can already see how some of the seed coatings are popping off. And the seeds are starting to, they're not necessarily opening up, but they are swelling a little bit. And the seed coating is popping off as well. So you want to do this for at least 12 hours. I like to do this overnight. So when I'm closing down the kitchen for the evening, I'll put in my seeds for my sprouts, fill it up with water, and just let it sit overnight. And then you begin the process of what you're going to do every day thereafter. And every day thereafter is basically the same. So after your first 12 hours of soaking, you're going to strain your seeds for the first time. So I am just going to use this bowl to catch my water, and I'm going to put my straining bowl on top, and I am simply just going to pour these seeds over the top of the strainer and make sure I get all the seeds into the strainer. Now, the goal here is to get them completely dry, not completely dry, but to get all excess moisture off of the seeds at this step, right? So you've soaked them. Now you're going to take them and try to get them completely dried out. So this is when the size of the strainer really matters. You want to be able to flatten the seeds out so that there's really one seed there's only one level of seed. You don't want the seeds to be stacked. So I try to spread these out as much as possible so that I've got basically a whole tray full of seeds. So this is that next morning after 12 hours of soaking. You put them in here, and then you're going to put this bottom underneath. Sorry for the clanging. You're going to put this bottom underneath. Little PSA for you, this water that you've just soaked these seeds in is super nutritious and great for watering plants. It's got that seed coating rubbing off on it and just some of the nutrients that have come from that seed soak. So don't throw this water away. It's super valuable. Go water your house plants or water, anything that you're growing, your herbs indoors, anything you're growing, use that water. It's super valuable. Okay, so after I do that, now I'm going to do a quick rinse. So this is what you'll begin to do twice a day, every day that you're growing sprouts. So I've just got a little pitcher of water here, and I am just going to pour this over my seeds and give them a quick rinse. So basically you're getting everything wet, but they're not sitting in water. They don't sit in water anymore after you do that first soak. You just rinse, let it strain and sit, and then you come back and do this process twice a day. So I like to work this around my kitchen errand time. So when I'm in the kitchen making breakfast, I do the first rinse. And then when I'm cleaning up the kitchen at the end of the evening, I do the second rinse. So it works out perfectly to have 2 rinses a day. And I don't have to add anything. I don't have to go anywhere special, do anything. I'm just in the kitchen already. And I just do a quick rinse for the sprouts. If you miss a rinse, if you only do 1 a day or something like that, it's not a huge deal. It's keeping the seeds clean. Sometimes with sprouts, there have been cases of, I'm going to probably say this wrong, but something like salmonella. There's times when these whenever there's something that goes wrong, it's because they were too wet and too close together. So the rinsing helps keep these seeds very clean and make sure none of that bad stuff happens. So you're going to do this twice a day, every day, for say 5 to 7 days. As soon as I do the rinse, I cover it over the top and just let it sit on the edge of my cabinet. So this, don't you think it's so pretty, right? So I just set this right in my kitchen, right alongside my other appliances, and it just does its thing while I do my thing. And then in about 5 to 7 days, I'll open this up, and this will literally be popping off because the sprouts have grown so much that they start to push this top off. And then it is time to eat, and you simply just scoop them up. You can eat them in all kinds of ways, by themselves, on a salad, on a wrap, as a little garnish to your dinner. There's a million ways to enjoy the sprouts, and it's going to bring that fresh, just picked taste to your plate. Even in the middle of winter, it's the best thing. So last thing I want to tell you is a couple of different plants you can use for sprouting. I have found the easiest are greens and radishes. So you want to think for sprouts, just anything that you grow for the leaf. Those things typically are going to do really well as a sprout. Also things that grow very quickly from seed. So radishes, arugula, lettuces, all those things that sprout quickly and turn into leaves quickly, those often translate into great products for growing sprouts. You can also grow bigger things like peas and chickpeas. And, there's lots of other varieties of sprouts you can grow. But if I just wanted to get you started and make sure you have success, I highly recommend just starting with simple greens and radishes to grow them into sprouts. So I hope you'll take the challenge to grow at least 1 tray of sprouts every week for the entirety of the year. Just think of all the varieties you're going to get to try out, all the flavors and all the fresh and nutritious food that you're going to get to eat. You can grow it with a strainer tray like this one. We'll have a link to all the supplies we're using, or you can use something simple like a mason jar with a strainer top. If you are using something small like this, I just recommend what you do is when you're straining it, you actually turn it upside down or on the side. You want to limit the amount of seeds you put in here. I found over the years that the best case is to only have enough seeds to cover that strainer for 1 level. So whatever size strainer you're using, just make sure you only cover one height of seed on that strainer and nothing stacked. That'll make sure you're completely safe. Your seeds aren't staying wet and there's no chance for, anything less than perfect to come from growing. You'll find over time that these seeds, as they start to grow, you may actually have to thin them out. So sometimes when I start with this many seeds at about 3 or 4 days, I actually have to half this. So I'll take about half of these, put them into this strainer tray, and to make sure that everything has enough room to spread out and grow. The way these trays work, obviously, is you could have several different sets of sprouts growing all simultaneously, or start one every other day so that you have a continuous supply of fresh sprouts. I hope you will try this indoor gardening project. It is a way that you can start gardening right away wherever you are, no matter how much gardening experience you have. I've found so much joy from doing this right on my kitchen counter, and I know you will too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.